Flavors Live is all about food, food energy, and passion. Flavors Live is all about unique and exciting menu ideas. Flavors Live is our way of bringing the fun of food to you. Here, pig, 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 pig. Woo! If I got a hankering for some of that other white meat, ain't hardly nothing better than grilled pork. Marty, tell me what I want to hear.
Pork is very popular and appearing on more and more restaurant menus all over the country. Pork was once processed in the winter months, the fat rendered to lard, the meat salted and cured and stored in wooden barrels. Today, pork is much different. With a combination of breeding varieties, pork is very lean. We have a really neat recipe today. We're going to create a brine similar to those days of the popular salting. Our brine today is going to infuse a variety of flavors that will allow us to put moisture and flavor back into fresh pork chops. We begin with equal parts kosher salt and sugar. To that we add maple syrup. We have a variety of fresh herbs, some fresh garlic and ginger. And then we have Monarch 6 pepper blend, juniper berries, and fresh cloves. I have 2 cups of boiling water. I've put the water on top of the dry mix. We'll seal the lid and we'll gently agitate until all the ingredients have dissolved into the boiling water. At this point, you can refrigerate for several hours until the brine is cool, or you can add ice to bring the brine down to temperature. It's a much easier method, and your brine will be ready for the pork chops. We have Stockyards center cut, bone-in pork chops. We'll submerge down into the brine, replace the lid, let this sit in the refrigerator for about 4 to 6 hours. We've selected fresh pears and apples for our chutney. We've peeled them, we've cut them in half. Gonna paint the apple and the pear with a small amount of extra virgin olive oil, cinnamon, and clove. I'm gonna place it into a 350-degree oven until the fruit is tender. The bone-in pork chops have been sitting in the brine for just under 6 hours, and I am pouring that brine away. It's no longer needed. I'm going to work that brine out of the meat and bring the pork chops up into a bowl, and we're ready to cook. So now we have a lot of flavor that has been fused into the pork chops. Remember, this is a very lean piece of meat. We're going to re-season, we're going to re-oil, but when we re-season, we're not going to do one thing. We're not going to add salt because remember, it's been sitting in that brine for a long time. So we're going to pat dry. I want to remove as much moisture as it can. The moisture is already infused into the meat. I'm going to paint it with our Optimax trans fat-free oil on both sides. And we're going to hit it again with that tremendous 6 pepper blend from Monarch. Red peppers, green peppers, several different types of chilies. Now here's the kicker with pork chops. Very lean piece of meat, easily overcooked. There's a two-tiered method for cooking. We start at a very high heat. I'm going to sear for about 2 minutes on each side. I'm going to lower it, and we'll finish it until that pork is 150 degrees internally. We have a live guest here on the Flavors Live set. Terry from California, a food consultant. Good morning.
So nice to see you. So nice to be here. So I see you're working with the chutney, which is a great option this time of year when the summer fruits aren't available. You've got apples and pears. I see the raisins and the cranberries are sitting in liquid, but these fruits are not.
Fresh fruit is really limited this time of year, but you know what? Apples and pears, they're always available. So we've roasted the fruit. It's going to be a great complement to the chutney. The chutney has a variety of ingredients that allow you to preserve throughout the year. And so we're adding a fresh note. This allows us to add some size and some texture to the chutney. It's really going to allow it to stand up and will really accentuate over our fresh pork today.
Yeah, it must be beautiful when you go to plate it up.
It is a dramatic look, and you'll see in the final appearance today, it really will, it really helps sell the dish.
All right, let's see you do it.
Okay, so what we'll do is, this is roasted. It is fork tender, so as I slice through, it has a nice crunch to it.
And the cinnamon and nutmeg are so nice this time of year. Is it cinnamon? Oh, it's cloves, not nutmeg.
Cinnamon and cloves, and you know what's really nice about cinnamon? Cinnamon does come from the bark, and I like to dry saute the cinnamon. It takes the raw note out, and it really accentuates the flavor of the cinnamon and gives it a smoky note. And one thing that will happen during the roasting process is that cinnamon will cook, and it will really actually mellow, and will really complement the apples and the pears well. And again, the fruit adds such a unique texture, and similar to most chutneys that are more of a puree, this chutney we really want to be the key selling point and allow us to get or command that premium dollar for that dish. We'll ask $18 to $25 for this center cut bone-in pork chop today, and that chutney will be a big reason why.
And is it better to do this right beforehand or do it in advance and let the flavors marry?
That is a great question. We're going to do it beforehand. Chutneys will last in your freezer or your walk-in refrigerators for up to a week. Allow the sauce that we've created to cool. We've allowed the apples and the pears to cool to incorporate those ingredients. I like to add chutney to a dish at room temperature. You can certainly add it refrigerated. You can even place it back onto the stove and warm it up to 120, 130 degrees so that will not bring the temperature down of your entree.
All right, not that this doesn't already look beautiful. Anything else you could add to it? Any other options, alternatives?
There's a lot of alternatives to it, and it really depends on the time of year. We always look for fruits that are in season. So what I'll say is choosing fruits in season are the most important part. Whether it's mangoes in the summertime, whether it's a late harvest tomato. Doesn't always have to be fruit. We make tomato chutneys, which is more of a savory chutney. So it's really identifying the calendar throughout the year and accentuating those fruits that are fresh to harvest.
Great. So our pork chop is perfectly seared. We've got some beautiful components to plate this up. Let's see how it all comes together.
You know what? I started with pureed yams. I just like the color. There's a certain nutritional value, low in natural sugars.
It's beautiful. So many people, though, get mixed up between yams and sweet potatoes. They use them interchangeably, but they're very different.
They're very different texture, different starch contents, and different applications. This works very well with just a little bit of molasses or even brown sugar, and this is going to be the base for our dish.
Okay, it's beautiful. So the chop goes right on top?
Chops, you know, I would take just a spatula here, and just make a little indent. And what this is going to allow us to do is those potatoes are really going to pop around the side of the pork chop.
Okay.
So we obviously want to accentuate the bone. Again, this is cooked to about 150 degrees internally. Sweet, tender pork chop.
It's beautiful.
And this is just a generous line of chutney. That's going to finish out the plate.
Beautiful. And how about, can I use a little bit of this?
Absolutely.
It's pomegranate reduction?
Pomegranate reduction.
All right, just put a few little drops.
We started with a simple brine, and the result is this succulent pork chop with an apple pear chutney. Next is off to Chicago to the famous stockyards. Terry, will you be joining us?
I would absolutely love to.
Looking forward to it.
All right, see you then.